right? Thank you, Shakoya, and you're up next. So I met Shakoya last year through Miss Dot, and immediately I was just so impressed and blown away and just fell in love with her. She's just such an amazing young woman. I know time is of the essence, so go through your bio, but if you could just tell us about a bit about yourself before I ask you the next few questions, please.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Shakoya Brown, and currently I am a professor. I teach communication, strategic communication, and public relations at Johnson C. Smith University, which is also my undergraduate alma mater. I had the opportunity of moving to Charlotte from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and being adopted by the Counts family. So, Aunt Dot has been instrumental for me like since 2016 when I made my very first visit to Charlotte and decided that this was going to be my new home. Like I said, I'm originally from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, so my very first time moving anywhere was moving here to Charlotte. And when I graduated from Johnson C. Smith, I then went on to UNC Charlotte, where I received my master's in communication studies. So clearly, I really like it here. This has become literally my second home. I've grown a lot. I've sown a lot of time and dedication into not only my alma maters in the education realm, but also just in this community as well. A lot of the things that I see happening on the west side of Charlotte, in the West Corridor, are very similar to the things that I see coming from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So it gives me a different kind of love and a different kind of passion for the work that I do, especially considering that I'm a very young professor and have the opportunity to work with students who are literally, technically like I feel like I'm like Jada, I don't want to be considered Gen Z, but technically I am Gen Z. And so working with them, I'm not that far removed and have the opportunity to assist them in growing the same way that people like Aunt Dot, people like Aisha now pour into me and like see the potential that I have as a young woman. I try to reciprocate that in the way that I teach my students. So yeah, that's really just a little bit about me.
Well, that is absolutely wonderful. And so I would like to know, given your age and seeing that you're so young and you're doing so many amazing things, you're serving as a professor and all of the other things that you do, how have you evolved even during this short period of time and redefined and refined yourself in the stages of your life that you've experienced thus far?
So I want to address the chat first. Yes, I work with Dr. Diggs and Professor Corbett. Me and Dr. Diggs are in the same department, Anisha, and me and Professor Corbett collaborate a lot. So, like, literally, I talk to them every week. But thinking about, I'm sorry, I got off track, Aisha. Could you please ask that question one more time?
Yes. I wanted to know, even though, because you're so young, you're a professor and you're doing so many things in the community. I wanted to know how do you or how have you pretty much evolved and redefined yourself if you have and refined yourself even in the short period of time that you've been here on the earth, because you're so mature and just so amazing. Like what have you done and how do you do it?
I think life has a really interesting way of shaping us, right? So everyone's life isn't the same by any means, but you have similar experiences to other people. At 27, I can say that I've definitely experienced some things that could have, could have taken my life in the opposite direction, right? So, like, on the topic of mother line, like I lost my mother at 7. And so the majority of my life, I've been raised by my father. And I do have older siblings, so it's like having two sets of parents, right? But when I think about that, or when I think about the neighborhood I come from and the circumstances of a lot of the people I've been around, or even, being 23 and experiencing a stroke, those kinds of things have really given me a different kind of outlook on life. So they've made me appreciate things a lot more, and they've given me an opportunity to see how God works in mysterious ways. So when I think about how I've refined myself, I can honestly say that without my faith, first and foremost, I would not have been able to do so, and make it this far. But secondly, I think that the willingness to just try and be 1% better each day is what gets me there. So each morning that I wake up and open my eyes, I'm like, okay, you got to take advantage of the time that you have today. If you need rest, rest. If there's something that's been on your mind and you really want to work towards it, very similar to, how you arrived at this concept. If something is on your heart and it's on your mind, like, how do I work towards that today? How can I be better? My word for this year is impact. How can I be more impactful for the people around me and the people that I get the opportunity to interact with and touch? How do I do that? But also, how do I impact myself in a way that allows me to give myself the grace needed to grow?
Oh, I absolutely, absolutely love that impact. What good is life if we cannot impact people? You know, I say all the time, if my life doesn't bring God glory, and by bringing God glory is because I'm impacting other people, right? So if I do not impact anyone, God and I
Yeah.
already have that conversation, like, Lord, take me home. And I'm serious, because then I'd just rather be with my maker. But while I'm here, I must make impact. And you're so amazing and wonderful in the ways that you give back to the community. And I look forward to just continuing to work with you, even as we serve as mentors in the Dorothy Counts-Scoggins mentorship program.
Yeah.
So yes, of course. So you know that one last question that I'm going to ask you, right? Your
Yes.
a big wish in one word.
If I had to choose one, I would say compassion. So when I think about life, like compassion is that one thread that kind of weaves through my entire journey. So it's guided me in the face of adversity. It's strengthened the way that I want to connect with other people. And honestly, it reminds me that true impact does come from understanding, uplifting others, and having empathy. So compassion is something that I wish we would, take more time to reflect on and to like meditate on and give more of, not just to others, but to ourselves, so that we could continue to do the work that's necessary and continue to hone and find our voices.
As we're engaging in these conversations, we all have had own unique paths, right? And journeys. But at the same time, what just came to my spirit is that we are women cut out of the same bolt of cloth.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
into my spirit because it's just such a common thread, that spirit of service and that heart, that giving back and wanting to see others be better and not act like crabs in a barrel, but lifting as we climb. And that is so important. Listen, Shakoya, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story and encouraging the women on the line. I know that even the more seasoned generation who have had an opportunity to hear from you tonight are encouraged. And then the younger ones, they are definitely given hope, so as not to give up on their generation as well.